My fiancée said she was going on a weekend retreat with friends, but a friend sent me a photo of her holding hands with a man at a rooftop lounge. So I booked a table nearby. When she saw me casually sipping my drink, she dropped her fork, and her date looked confused. I never thought I'd be the one sharing a story like this, but here I am, pouring my heart out to strangers on the internet. Maybe it's therapeutic, or perhaps I just need to know I'm not alone in this. Either way, here's my story. My name is Daniel. I'm 34, living in Mobile, Alabama. For the past 5 years, I've been in a relationship with Sarah, a 32-year-old elementary school teacher. We met through mutual friends at a local barbecue and hit it off immediately. Sarah has this infectious laugh and a smile that could light up the darkest room. We moved in together after 2 years of dating, and about a year ago, I proposed to her at the Mobile Botanical Gardens. She said yes, and we began planning our future together. Our relationship had its ups and downs, like any other. We both had demanding jobs. I'm an engineer at a local firm, and Sarah's teaching kept her busy. But we always made time for each other, or so I thought. A few weeks ago, Sarah mentioned she was going on a weekend retreat with her girlfriends. She said they needed some time away to relax and recharge. I didn't think much of it. After all, everyone deserves a break. She packed her bags on Friday morning, kissed me goodbye, and left, promising to call me when she arrived. Friday evening came and went without a call or text from Sarah. I assumed she was caught up in the excitement with her friends and didn't want to disturb her. Saturday morning, I sent her a good morning text, but hours passed without a response. I started to feel a bit uneasy but brushed it off, convincing myself she was just enjoying her time. Around 6 p.m. on Saturday, I was lounging on the couch, flipping through channels when my phone buzzed. It was a text from my friend Mark. We had been friends since college and kept in touch regularly. The message read, "Hey man, isn't this Sarah?" Attached was a photo. I opened the image and felt my stomach drop. There was Sarah, sitting at a table on the rooftop of the Skyview Lounge, holding hands with a man I'd never seen before. The Skyview Lounge is a well-known spot in downtown Mobile, perched atop the Holiday Inn, offering panoramic views of the city. It's a place we've been to several times for special occasions. My mind raced. Maybe it was an old photo? Maybe it was a misunderstanding? But deep down, I knew what I saw. Sarah was supposed to be miles away on a retreat, not in town, let alone at a place we frequented, with another man. I called Mark immediately. "Where did you get this photo?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "I was at the Skyview Lounge earlier with some colleagues," he explained. "I saw Sarah there with that guy." I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but it didn't look like a friendly meeting. "I thought you should know." I thanked him for letting me know and hung up. My heart was pounding and my hands were shaking. I needed to see this for myself. Without overthinking, I grabbed my jacket and headed downtown. The drive felt like an eternity, though it was only about 15 minutes. My mind was a whirlwind of emotions: anger, confusion, betrayal. I parked a block away from the hotel and took a deep breath before entering. The elevator ride to the 17th floor was agonizingly slow. When the doors opened, I was greeted by the familiar ambience of the Skyview Lounge, the dim lighting, the soft jazz music, the clinking of glasses. I scanned the room, and there she was, sitting at a table near the window, laughing at something the man across from her had said. I approached the hostess and requested a table nearby, mentioning I was meeting someone. She led me to a table within clear view of Sarah's. I ordered a drink, trying to appear casual, though my insides were churning. From my vantage point, I observed them. Sarah was leaning in close, her hand occasionally touching his arm. They shared a dessert, feeding each other bites. It was intimate, far beyond the boundaries of friendship. At one point, Sarah glanced around the room, perhaps checking her surroundings. Her eyes met mine, and her face went pale. She froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. The man noticed her reaction and turned to see what had caused it. His eyes met mine, and he looked back at Sarah, clearly puzzled. I took a slow sip of my drink, never breaking eye contact with Sarah. The weight of the moment was suffocating. She mumbled something to her companion and stood up, making her way toward me. "Daniel," she began, her voice trembling. "What are you doing here?" I looked at her, my expression unreadable. "I could ask you the same thing, Sarah. Weren't you supposed to be on a retreat with your friends?" She opened her mouth to speak, but hesitated, glancing back at the man who was now watching us intently. "Who is he?" I asked, my voice low but firm. She swallowed hard. "His name is Michael. We met a few months ago." I felt like the floor had been yanked out from under me. "A few months ago?" I echoed. "So, while we were planning our wedding, you were seeing him?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "I'm so sorry, Daniel. I never meant for you to find out like this." I stood up, tossing some cash on the table to cover my drink. "Well, you made your choices, Sarah. I hope he was worth it." I walked past her, feeling her hand graze my arm as if to stop me, but I didn't pause. The elevator ride down was a blur. I stepped out into the cool night air, taking deep breaths to steady myself. The drive home was silent, save for the thoughts screaming in my head. How had I missed the signs? Were there signs? Our life together replayed in my mind, every moment now tainted with doubt. When I arrived home, I sat in the dark living room, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed, messages from Sarah, apologizing, begging to explain. I couldn't bring myself to read them. The next few days were a haze. I went through the motions at work, avoiding conversations and keeping to myself. Sarah continued to reach out, but I remained unresponsive. I needed time to process, to understand how the woman I loved and trusted could betray me so profoundly. Friends reached out, having heard through the grapevine about what happened. Some offered words of comfort, others shared their own stories of betrayal. It was a small solace to know I wasn't alone, but it didn't ease the pain. One evening, about a week after the incident, Sarah showed up at our apartment. I opened the door to find her standing there, looking worn and remorseful. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I hesitated but stepped aside, allowing her in. We sat on opposite ends of the couch, a chasm between us. "I don't know where to start," she began, wringing her hands. "How about the truth?" I suggested. She nodded, tears streaming down her face, and for a while, she didn't say anything. Just sat there, looking down at her hands like they held all the answers. I waited, my chest tight with anger, confusion, and something worse, pain I couldn't shake. Finally, she whispered, "I didn't plan for any of this to happen." I scoffed. "You don't accidentally start a secret relationship, Sarah." She looked up, her eyes bloodshot. "I wasn't happy, Daniel. I've been feeling distant for a long time. Then you should have talked to me. You don't cheat just because you're feeling distant. That's not how adults handle things." She flinched. I know I messed up. I didn't think you'd care." That hit harder than I expected. "What the hell does that mean?" She swallowed hard. "You've been so distant too. Always working, always tired. You stopped noticing things." I felt like a roommate, not a fiancé. I stood up, pacing now. "So instead of telling me that, you decided to screw someone behind my back? That's your fix?" She broke then. Not the tears before kind of breaking. Full-on shaking, sobbing, hands over her face. It should have made me feel something, sympathy, maybe. But all I felt was numb. I sat back down, hands clasped together, staring at the floor. "How long?" I asked without looking at her. She took a while to answer. "About 4 months." I let that sink in. 4 months. We had celebrated our engagement anniversary 2 months ago. She'd smiled in the photos, hugged me tight, posted a long sappy caption about forever. Lies. All of it. "And it's serious?" I asked. She hesitated again. "It wasn't at first. But it's gotten more serious, yes." I nodded slowly. "You planning on leaving me for him?" "I don't know." That answer didn't surprise me, and somehow, that made it worse. The next morning, she was gone before I woke up. She left a note on the counter, some half-assed apology and a line that said, "I'll give you space." Good. That's exactly what I needed. But space didn't stop the unraveling. 2 days later, Mark called again. His voice was tense. Dan, you might want to sit down. I was already sitting. You remember that guy? The one Sarah was with. I said nothing. His name's Michael Holloway. He's married. Has a kid. Lives in West Mobile. My stomach dropped. Are you sure? I finally asked. Yeah. A friend of mine works with his wife. She's been suspicious for a while. Heard something about Sarah from a coworker, put 2 and 2 together. I didn't know what to say. The room started spinning. You think Sarah knew? Mark sighed. Don't know. But she sure as hell knows now. His wife confronted him this morning. That was the second hit to the gut. I sat in silence for the next few hours, thoughts racing. My phone buzzed constantly. Texts from Sarah, a missed call from an unknown number, probably Michael's wife. I ignored them all. That night, I heard a knock at the door. I almost didn't answer. But something in me needed to see who had the guts to show up. It was Sarah. She looked like she hadn't slept. She had a bruise on her cheek, faint but noticeable. My stomach twisted. What happened? I asked, my tone sharper than I intended. She looked past me, eyes darting like she wanted to crawl into the apartment and disappear. Can I come in? I hesitated, then stepped aside. She sat on the same couch, holding her hands in her lap again. I didn't know he was married, she said immediately. I swear to God, Daniel, I didn't know. He told me he was separated, that he was getting a divorce. I never would have stopped. I raised my hand. You believed that line? Really? That old cliché. I believed him, she said, voice cracking. Because I wanted to. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. Because somewhere deep down, I understood that kind of desperation. Wanting to believe something so badly you ignore all the warning signs. But I wasn't ready to forgive her. Not even close. I confronted him today, she went on. Told him to come clean to his wife. He begged me not to. Then he got angry. Said I was ruining his life. Said I set him up. My eyes went to the bruise again. He didn't hit me, she said quickly, noticing my stare. He grabbed me. It left a mark. That's it. That's not okay, I said flatly. I know. She wiped her face with her sleeve. His wife knows everything now. She messaged me earlier. Called me every name in the book. I stayed silent. I deserve it, she added. Still, I said nothing. Daniel. I don't know what to do. I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time since this started. She wasn't the woman I fell in love with. Or maybe she was, and I just never saw the cracks until they split wide open. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from an unknown number. You don't know the full story. Meet me. Please. Kay, I stared at the message, confused. Who's Kay? I muttered. Sarah looked up, frowning. I don't know. Another message came in. Skyview Lounge. Tomorrow night. 7 p.m. I'll explain everything. Something about it felt off, and yet, I couldn't shake the feeling I needed to know more. I didn't realize until that moment. This wasn't just about betrayal. Something bigger was going on. And I was in the middle of it. I didn't respond to the text right away. Just stared at it like it might explode. Kay? Who the hell was Kay? And why were they sending cryptic messages about meeting me at the same rooftop lounge where everything fell apart? Sarah leaned over a bit, squinting at my screen. Let me see. I pulled it back. No, you think it's Michael's wife, she asked, voice shaky. Possibly. Could also be someone else. The whole thing felt strange. I didn't like games. I especially didn't like being pulled deeper into something I never asked to be part of. But at the same time, there was a gnawing sensation in my gut, like this thing wasn't finished. Not even close. The next day, I kept thinking about the text. I showed it to Mark over lunch, and he raised an eyebrow. You gonna go? I don't know. He looked serious. I'd be careful, Dan. Could be a setup. Or worse. That thought had already crossed my mind. But something was drawing me to it, like an itch I couldn't ignore. At 6:45 p.m., I found myself pulling into the parking garage at the Holiday Inn again. The same place. The same damn view. But a different kind of storm waiting. The lounge was quieter than before. A few couples, a business dinner, and a bartender wiping down glasses. I ordered a club soda and sat in a corner booth, facing the entrance. At 7:03, a woman walked in. She was tall, mid-30s maybe, dressed in dark jeans and a leather jacket. Her hair was tied back, and she had this air of confidence, like she wasn't afraid of anything. She scanned the room, spotted me, and walked over. "You're Daniel," she said. Not a question. I nodded. "'Kay?" "Yeah," she said, sliding into the seat across from me. "Name's Kara." I waited. She pulled a photo from her purse and laid it on the table between us. Michael, with another woman. Not Sarah. Not the woman I assumed was his wife. Someone else. "This was taken 2 weeks ago in Baton Rouge," Kara said. "Her name's Brianna. She doesn't know about Sarah. Or about me." I blinked. "Wait. What?" "I've been in a relationship with Michael for over a year," she said. "I found out about Brianna 3 months ago. Then last week, I found out about Sarah. He's been juggling all of us." "I thought you should know." My brain couldn't process it. "He's seeing 3 different women at the same time?" She smirked bitterly. "Try 4. His wife, Brianna, Sarah, and me." I leaned back, stunned. "What the hell does he do for a living?" "Real estate. Says he travels a lot. Uses that as his cover. But it's mostly lies." I stared at the photo again. Michael looked happy. Relaxed. A man with no consequences. "You told Sarah any of this?" "No," Kara said. "Didn't know how to reach her. And honestly, I wasn't sure I should." "So why tell me?" She sighed. "Because I found your name on her Instagram. Engagement photos. You looked like you deserved the truth." I didn't know what to say. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "There's more." Of course there was. Kara pulled out another photo. This time, it was a printed screenshot, Michael and Sarah. But not from the rooftop lounge. This was a selfie, inside someone's house. "That's my apartment," Kara said. "He took her there." I blinked. "Wait, he brought my fiancé to your place?" "Yep. I was out of town for work." "He knew. He used the spare key I gave him." I rubbed my face with both hands. The twists kept coming, and my anger was morphing into something deeper, disgust. Then Kara leaned forward. "Listen. I don't know what you plan to do, but I'm getting all of this out. I've spoken to a lawyer. Michael's wife deserves to know everything. So do the others." I nodded slowly. "Agreed. Just thought you should be prepared. Things are about to blow up." We exchanged numbers before parting ways. When I got home, Sarah was sitting in the living room again. She stood when I walked in. "Where were you?" I closed the door, tossed my keys on the counter. "Meeting someone." She looked confused, then wary. "Who?" "Kara. One of Michael's other girlfriends." She blinked. "Other? Yeah. You weren't the only one, Sarah. He's seeing multiple women. Has a wife. A girlfriend in Baton Rouge. And Kara." She looked like someone had punched her in the gut. "You're serious?" I nodded. "He brought you to Kara's apartment. She recognized it in one of your photos." Her legs gave out, and she collapsed onto the couch. Oh my God. The room fell silent again. The kind of silence that screamed louder than words. Then she said something I didn't expect. "I'm late." I turned. "Late for what?" She looked up at me, tears in her eyes. "My period." "I'm late." And just like that, the room tilted. The air in the apartment went cold. Her words echoed, "I'm late." And I just stood there, frozen. "You think it's his?" I asked quietly. She didn't answer right away. Her hands trembled in her lap, and her eyes darted from the floor to me, to the ceiling, back to the floor. "I don't know," she whispered. That broke something in me. Something I'd been holding together with sheer will for the last 2 weeks. "You don't know?" I repeated, louder this time. "Sarah, are you hearing yourself? You've been sleeping with another man, lying to me, and now you might be pregnant and you're not sure who the father is." She burst into tears, burying her face in her hands. "I'm sorry," she cried. "I never wanted this. I never wanted any of this." "Stop saying that," I snapped. "You did want this. You chose it. You kept choosing it every single time you snuck around behind my back." She stood abruptly, pacing like a caged animal. "I didn't mean to hurt you, Daniel. I swear, he said all the right things, and I was scared, and I felt alone, and I didn't know how to talk to you anymore." "Bullshit," I muttered. "I was right there. Every day. You could have said one word. Just one." She turned to me, eyes bloodshot. "You don't think I thought about that? I didn't want to be the bad guy." "Well, congratulations. You nailed it." Silence fell again. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was heavy, like gravity had doubled in the room. Then came the knock. We both froze. Another knock. More urgent. Sarah looked at me, and I knew we were thinking the same thing. I opened the door. It was her. Kara. And behind her was a short, older woman with a face I instantly recognized from Facebook photos Sarah once showed me. Michael's wife. Kara spoke first. "I'm sorry to do this like this, but she deserves to know everything. And so do you." Michael's wife stepped forward. Her voice was calm but cold. "Where is he?" "Not here," Sarah said quickly, stepping forward. "He's not here. He told me he was working late." I checked his GPS. His phone was parked outside this building for the last hour. Sarah looked stunned. "He was never late." "He must have." The front door opened. Michael, wearing a button-down shirt, slacks, and an expression that flipped between panic and fury the second he saw his wife standing there. "What the hell is going on?" he barked. No one answered. We just stared at him. "You were outside this whole time?" Sarah asked, stunned. "I was trying to talk to you," he said quickly, then turned to me. "You set me up?" I stepped forward. "You set yourself up, man. You played everyone." His wife stepped around me. Slapped him. Hard. The sound echoed. Nobody breathed. "You used me," she hissed. "Our son asked where you were tonight. Said you missed his science fair." Again. Michael's face flushed. "I didn't ask for the circus." "No," Kara said, "you just built it." Sarah stood frozen, shaking. "Get out," she said quietly to Michael. He looked at her like she was insane. "What?" "Get out of my apartment. Get the hell out." He opened his mouth like he wanted to argue, but saw the look in her eyes and left. No apology. No remorse. Just walked out and slammed the door behind him. And then the silence came back. Michael's wife left quietly, tears running down her cheeks. Kara gave me a sad look and followed her out. That left just me and Sarah. She turned to me, mascara streaked down her cheeks, mouth trembling. "I'm so sorry, Daniel." "I know," I said softly. "But that doesn't fix it." "No," I agreed. "It doesn't." I moved out 2 days later. She offered to stay somewhere else, but I needed the clean break. I couldn't sleep in that apartment knowing what happened there. What nearly happened to my life. Sarah texted me a week after I left. Said the pregnancy test came back negative. That she was sorry again. That she missed me. That she understood if I never spoke to her again. I didn't reply. The fallout was strange. Some friends judged her harshly. Others told me I should forgive. Some said I should have fought harder to win her back. But I wasn't interested in winning back something that was already broken before I knew it. Mark helped me move. He never said, "I told you so," though I know he wanted to. His loyalty meant more than he'll ever realize. I spent nights walking around my new neighborhood, trying to make sense of everything. I kept wondering if I missed some red flag. If I could have done something different. If love was really enough when someone wants something else. Eventually, I stopped asking why. Now? I'm not angry anymore. I'm not sad. I'm just tired. But I'm also free. Free from the lie I thought was love. Free from constantly trying to be enough for someone who was already looking for the exit. People say you can't fully know someone. I think that's true. But I also think the way someone breaks your heart says more about them than it does about you. What did I learn? Don't ignore your gut. Silence isn't peace, it's often a warning. And if someone chooses to betray you once, they already crossed the line you never would. I don't know if I'll fall in love again. I'm not even thinking that far ahead. But I know what I won't tolerate. I've got scars now, but I wear them with clarity, not shame. And if Sarah ever thinks of me again, I hope she remembers that night. The night she dropped her fork. The moment she saw me sipping my drink, watching everything unravel. That was the moment I stopped being hers. Forever.